Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about insulin and why it is important for muscle growth. So, insulin is naturally produced by the pancreas and the beta cells to decrease blood sugar. By doing this, let me take off my glasses really quick. By doing this, it forces it into the muscle cells and every other type of cell. It unfortunately is also known as the fat storage hormone, and it is very useful for muscle building. It also drives amino acids into the muscle cell at a much lower rate than actual sugars or glucose. Anytime you eat any sort of, if you're not diabetic, I should emphasize, anytime you eat any sort of food that includes carbohydrates, your insulin will raise to lower the amount of blood sugar, to lower your blood sugar. So, I also wanted to talk about insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your body decreases the amount of receptors on the muscle cells specifically, but cells on your body, making your glucose, your blood glucose raise. Now it will eventually lead to type 2 diabetes. This typically is in the case of overconsumption of carbohydrates. So in the case of overconsumption of carbohydrates, if you're not burning them off and you have too many, you're going to have the issue of your body not needing any more sugar to be driven into the cells. And without that, your blood sugar will be raised, as I mentioned before, and that's insulin resistance. Eventually, like I said, that can lead to type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes officially is only said to be brought on by overconsumption of calories in mass. I believe this is technically true because some amino acids are driven by insulin, but I've never heard of anybody eating a no carbohydrate diet and getting type 2 diabetes. I don't know anything about that. Now, you don't want your blood sugar to be getting too high, so type 2 diabetics have to use insulin to drive that blood sugar down, and so they basically need more of it, especially because their beta cells are extraordinarily, how can I put this, overburdened, because the amount of insulin to drive it into those receptors needed is massive. So what does this have to do with building in general, or building muscle in general? So this is going to be, insulin is going to be extremely useful because it helps drive the nutrients to the cell that help it to build. So if you're a normal man, you have testosterone, your body is telling itself to repair after a workout, you consume carbohydrates, proteins right after your workout, then those carbohydrates and proteins are flushed into the muscle via insulin and other measures as well, because I believe insulin growth factor can actually play into this as well. With that path, it is able to help the muscles build back stronger and bigger. Now, with type 1 diabetics, there's the issue of or actually this goes for anybody with diabetes. If your blood sugar gets too high, you can go into a state of ketoacidosis, which is basically when your body goes haywire and produces way too many ketones. It's very odd. A lot of doctors confuse this with ketosis, and so a lot of them were very afraid of the ketogenic diet, because in the ketogenic diet they advertise ketosis, which is very different from ketoacidosis. Two very, very different things. With that all being said, you need to make sure that your insulin resistance is good, meaning that you are not resistant to insulin and you have those receptors that are asking the protein and the carbohydrates, to come in and fill up the stores to give your body more energy and the ability to repair itself. And if you have a bad insulin resistance, you're going to have a harder time with getting that nutrient partitioning to the cells that you want to. You are most likely going to be more, your body's going to be more driven to store those nutrients as fat. Now, ways to lower your insulin resistance, lower the amount of carbohydrates you eat. That's obviously a big one. You can try insulin mimetics, which are basically things like cinnamon, berberine. There's a lot of different ones. They're just natural herbs that help to drive down your blood sugar. And mimetics just means they act like. You won't have the issues of if you had too much insulin in your system and you go hypoglycemic. That should not happen as long as you're monitoring how much carbohydrate intake you are having with stuff like insulin mimetics. But that is a supplement area, and I'm not talking to you about supplements today. Another way that everyone obviously can can help themselves to have better insulin resistance, or I guess a lack of resistance to insulin, is exercise. Exercise has been shown time and time again to help. My understanding to it is that the cells, since they need protein and carbohydrates, if they are constantly being flushed out of those nutrients because you're exercising, you're going to build more receptors, and therefore your body is going to become less insulin resistant. Obviously, if you become too insulin resistant, to my understanding, you will get type 2 diabetes. So it is always good to make sure that you are exercising and not over consuming carbs per what you have to do. A lot of strongmen have to consume massive amounts of carbohydrates simply because they need more energy, not just to exercise, but to build the muscle. They need their body to have energy to even be able to repair with the proteins. So that is going to do it for today. If you guys have any question on how insulin works in the body or the pancreas and beta cells, I will try to do my best research on it. Just let me know down in the comments what you want me to talk about next as well. And as always, remember to keep those shoulders back and down on your bench, and I'll see you in the next one.